Good morning, watching Sky News weather. We have a scorcher forecast for southeast Australia. Now, this hot weather's already impacted central and south Australia yesterday. Here are some of the maximum temperatures on Thursday. Adelaide hit 42.3, but Alice Springs hit 45.6. That equaled their all-time record, which they recorded, mind you, only last week. Ceduna hit 47.1 degrees. That was their hottest day in more than 5 years. So we have a very hot northerly airstream right now, and it's spreading from the interior right down to southeast Australia. Here are the latest temperatures. It's already above 30 in Alice Springs and Broken Hill. Now, Melbourne is currently sitting on 22.5 degrees, but is forecast to hit 42 degrees today. Before I give you some more details on this hot weather across the southeast, we're going to cross now to the Sky News Melbourne Bureau Chief Aaron Young, who's on the ground in Melbourne. Aaron, we're sitting in the low 20s right now, but that's about to change.
Tom, that's right. It feels quite comfortable at the moment. There's a bit of a breeze, but we know that those winds will be quite strong later on this afternoon. That's where the real fire danger will be, of course. But for now, lots of people out and about this morning getting that morning walk in, knowing what that temperature will do later on today. The mercury, as you mentioned, in Melbourne, due to hit about 42 degrees, the hottest day in around 3 years. But further north of the state, that's where the real concern is. Those areas, places like Mildura, but also Bendigo, 45 degrees, 46 pretty hot in Echuca and Ballarat as well. The hottest day for quite some time for many of these regions. But as you mentioned, that cool change will sweep through. We'll see temperatures drop quite significantly, quite quickly. 70 kilometre an hour winds and concerns of dry lightning as well. It's that dry lightning we've seen in the past that can really pull up that fire danger. So our fire chief's been quite clear with us to be very careful. If you don't need to go driving out in the bush today or camping, certainly don't. Total fire ban for the entire state of Victoria, and all those districts right around the Victorian state are either extreme or very high risk danger today too. So that total fire ban there. We've also been hearing from Lifesaving Victoria. They've had a pretty strong message. We've seen Victoria, but also around the country, Tom, this summer so far, 40% increase in the number of people who have drowned compared to this time last year. So the very strong message, if it's green, it's mean, is what we're being told about how to identify rips out in the ocean. A lot of people trying to avoid those heavy populated beaches and trying to find other areas. That's where they're finding themselves in trouble. So try to stay more on the beaten track when it comes to the beaches. Never swim alone, and try and stay out of the sun as much as possible, unless, of course, you're on television talking about the weather, Tom.
Aaron, thank you. Some really good advice there from Aaron about the rips, but also driving through bushland areas today. Good advice to just avoid it if you can, because if there are fires burning today, they'll be fast moving and almost impossible to control. Now, looking at the latest temperatures again, notice Adelaide's sitting on 30 degrees right now. They've been sitting above 30 for most of the night. They actually had a brief cool change. The winds have swung back to the east, but that southwest will really pick up in Adelaide over the next couple of hours. So here are the latest temperatures. You can see where you have the northerly, how warm it is. It's over 30 in Griffith, Deniliquin. We're already up to the mid-20s for some parts of the Victorian coastline. Gippsland's still below 20 though, and for Tasmania, we're already above 20 along the east coast. 22 in Hobart, that's their average maximum temperature at this time of year. Right, now the forecast temperatures today. They'll easily be climbing above 40 degrees through western New South Wales, inland Victoria and northern parts of South Australia, and even the mid to high 30s through eastern Tasmania. Now this front and trough, that's the boundary between the northerly and a southwesterly change. That change has just hit the far west coast of Victoria through the morning and lunchtime, moving through the west coast towards central parts of the state. Melbourne could see that cool change as early as 2 or 3 p.m, or perhaps waiting until about 4 p.m. We'll have to wait and see, but sometime around the middle of the afternoon we'll have that change hitting Melbourne. Hobart probably not until late this afternoon or early this evening. Now, because the winds are averaging 40 k's an hour ahead of the change where we have the northerly, there's elevated fire dangers. Extreme, the red through northern Victoria. Fast-moving, uncontrollable, unpredictable fires. Severe fire danger southern Victoria and eastern Tasmania, along with some central and northern parts of South Australia. Total fire bans enforced much of Tasmania and all of Victoria today. Now let's have a look at a warning we've got for damaging winds, because once this change hits, we'll have a brief window with gusts up to 100 kilometres per hour coming in from the southwest. And as a result, there's that warning area for the central and the Gippsland coast of Victoria. That is for later today. Let's keep tracking the cool change. You can see late Friday going through eastern Victoria, spreading through Tasmania, up towards New South Wales, affecting the south coast of the state overnight. Now tomorrow morning, let's say at 8 a.m, we still have a northerly there through central New South Wales down to the Illawarra and Sydney. So tomorrow will still be a very warm day for New South Wales and the ACT, but that southerly change is on the way. More details in my extreme weather outlook coming up shortly. Now, we've had some storms across New South Wales the last few days, a bit of hail around the Blue Mountains. This shot is from the Blue Mountains yesterday. There's the hail on the roof, and we saw up to 40 millimetres of rain in some parts of the central tablelands of New South Wales during Thursday afternoon. Here's the radar. There are the storms. Now, they weakened before reaching the coast. That's happened the last couple of days and have completely dissipated overnight, so there's no storms around this morning. But the forecast rain shows that we will see storms returning today, but this time mostly the northern ranges of New South Wales, the southern Darling Downs. Only the odd storm today will be affecting the central part of New South Wales.